Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my African brothers and sisters. This message is for my African brothers and sisters, whether you're Cameroonian, Nigerian, Ghana, Egypt, South Africa, Uganda, Kenya. This message is for the African youth. You know, there is a clip I saw, that was last week, Friday or Saturday or something like that. Where the Chinese were driving away African from their residence, mostly Nigerians, and this clip, this video got me thinking, when you come to Africa, every part of the African country has a Chinese living in it. Chinese are all over Africa, and they are chasing away Africans from that they have coronavirus. Imagine such a ridiculous claim that the Africans have coronavirus. Why coronavirus started from Wuhan, China? Now, and the cases of coronavirus is very low in Africa. Very, very low in Africa. Only Cameroon has the highest number of cases, which is about 700 and something. And the Chinese, which is the starting point of this pandemic, is chasing away Africans. And why there are so many Chinese in the African continent? Every part of Africa, South Africa, Cameroon, Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, everywhere you go, you see the Chinese. So, the problem is that I was blame the African leaders because like, when someone feeds you, it's like the person owing you. When someone feeds you, it's like the person owing you. Like the other day, that was in 2018 when African leaders went to China to collect loans of billions of dollars. And these loans, they said it's for infrastructural development, and that all this infrastructural development will bring dividends, and the African countries can pay back. But there are, when a racist country like China, a communist country that is not even sincere to their own citizens, China, even when this pandemic started, was not being forthcoming. They hiked that there were thousands of cases of dead people in China before they can even contact the World Health Organization that this is a pandemic, that they can't control it any longer. They were suppressing the press in China. And these kind of people, you are doing business with them. They are giving you out loans. The African leaders line up like goats that were on their way to be slaughtered, collecting stipends from China. And you don't care, you don't know there are clauses behind those loans. And when all this money, when they collect all this money and go to their various countries, they embezzle the money, they eat the money, and leave the countries at the mercy of the Chinese. There is no accountability in some of this money they collect, these loans they collect from China. And what will happen at the end of the day? There is a statistic that shows that in the year 2050, the Chinese populations will no longer contain them in China. In the year 2050, that Chinese population will no longer contain them in China. That is why they are making some kind of investments in Africa, so that at that time they will push their citizens, and they don't need our gold, they don't need our silver, they don't need our petrol. What they need is the continent itself. They need the lands. At the long run, China, you can see a Chinese becoming one of the presidents of an African nation. because they will push their people, they will become residents in Africa, and they will start controlling the economy of the country, because now person will get money, will get mouth, especially in Africa. If you have money, you have mouth. So we need to wake up, because our leaders are selling us. Our leaders are selling us. In one African country like that, I can't remember the name, their guns are not allowed to be carried around, but you see a Chinese carrying gun in that country. I think in Zambia or in one other country like that. So our leaders are selling us cheap, and we, the African youths, are the one that will pay for this. We, the African youths, are the one that will pay for all this. No matter where you are, because even though you say, okay, you're not in Africa, you have traveled, maybe you're states of America or Canada or Italy or Spain, but you still suffer from racism in those countries, because that place is not your home. Even the African Americans in America are still suffering from racism. Even though they say that they are the citizens of America, they still suffer from racism in these countries, in their own countries, because that country was not meant for the blacks. The only continent that was meant for black people is Africa, and we need to secure Africa. We need to preserve it. It is our motherland, it's our heritage, and we need to stand up for it, because there are invaders. Yes, the Chinese have the Europeans have done their own. Like, the Europeans have colonized us. They have looted us. Even what is happening in some of these francophone countries. And where they still have allegiance to France. They still use franc as their currency. They still have their savings in France. But Africans are trying to wake up, and they are trying to get over those hurdles, which are not yet done. But this slavery we are about to enter is in the hands of another communist country, which is more. Even this one, this one is the devil himself coming, and this one is coming to take away our lands. It's coming to take away our lands. And Africans, you know how precious we hold our lands. So, Africans, I'm calling, no matter, sometimes you'll say, okay, I am francophone. Like here in the UAE, some people will say, okay, they associate more with their francophone brothers, and the English was associated more with their, the Nigerians and the Ghanaians and all the rest of it. But it's not like that. Okay, if you watch very well, some people from Benin, they speak Yorubas. In Togo, they speak Yoruba. So we are all connected in one. We are all African brothers and sisters. So we need to unite as one. Forget whether you are English speaking or French speaking. We need to connect. Whether you are Christian or Muslim, we need to connect. We need to fight against, because some of these things was not given. It was not our African roots. The Christianity came from Europe. The Islam came from Arab. So none of them is from the African roots. So we need to stand up and connect as one nation, as one continent, and fight against all this racism and all this colonialism. Because another type of colonialism is coming, which is from the Chinese, because our leaders have sold us. Sometimes if you enter a lift with the Chinese, they will cover their nose. And even an African man, we bet more than them. An African man bet at least twice a day. But sometimes they can go a whole day, 2 days without betting. But if you enter a list with them, they will cover their nose to show you that you are inferior to them. It's just a message that they are trying to pass. Even here in UAE, it happens. Not talk of in their country. If you enter the same bus with them, they will move one side. I'm talking about the Chinese. So all this, and we are selling ourselves to them. And okay, I want to give a message, share a message to the children of our African leaders. You owe this to tell your fathers the truth. You can't just be enjoying the people's wealth and think that you don't have a repercussion, because one day when all this will start happening, when you feel that okay, maybe you have a citizen of you have another country citizenship, but still Africa is your home. One day you come back home and you see that home is lost. One day your children will come back home and you see that they don't have a place they can call home again. Because even at that place, you are not comfortable there. No matter how rich you are, you are still treated as a second-class citizen. You are just like an ordinary folks whenever you go travel outside the country. So you owe yourself, not even the citizens, you owe yourself to tell your father the truth. Because some of you are beginning to enjoy this your father's loot and forget, and you lose your conscience and you lose yourself. Tell them the truth. Tell them to be accountable. Because African leaders are so corrupt that they are blinded by wealth. They are so corrupt that they are blinded, and they can sell the whole nation without thinking twice. Because all these loans they are collecting, $20 billion, $30 billion, $10 billion, all these loans, most of this African continent cannot pay for it. And they have looted this money and carted it away to another country, to the Swiss banks and their Barclays banks. So they have sold their conscience, and we need to hold them accountable, even you that are their keys, because it is your own right, it is your own birthright they are selling. So let us wake up. Let us come together and fight for our land and fight for Africa, because there is no other place we can call home. Thank you.